So, do you guys have any questions on that? Anything about the variety development process? Or
How long is this one?
this one, we have strips at Mason. So F1014 had such good performance that I planted strip plots, seed increases. So we'll actually have enough if this line continues to perform well. We might be 2 years, 2 to 3 years, I would say, to where we're you know, we're about 3 years, 2 to 3 years from the point where we can seed will be sold. Yeah, yep. So we can release it, and then there's another year for seed increase, certified seed.
Are you spraying it at all for
No,
no.
it's standing on its own, you know. So, and that's what makes it stand out, is that it's able to resist scab, just based on its genetics.
How about, do you have it next to like Ambassador? Is it yielding the same or a little better?
It is actually, and so yeah, that's why I emphasize this line today, is because it's kind of the culmination of all that work to combine exceptionally high yield with the high levels of scab resistance, which has been a challenge. You can select for scab resistance in a breeding program, and you'll get scab resistance. You'll also get yield resistance. So it's a double-edged sword, you know. In plant breeding, you always get what you select for, you know. But this is the rare case where you get high-end yield and good disease resistance. So we'll also be evaluating it for sprouting resistance as well this year. So we're going to get a visual sprout score, and we're going to get an amylase assay. We've got an assay where we can predict falling number, basically, for these lines earlier in the breeding process. So that's all. We run these things through the gamut. So.
Did all these start off the same size strips?
Yeah, yeah.
Winter kill, where we see the whole.
Exactly. Yep. Exactly. So there was a little bit of winter kill just because we've had such mild winters in the last 5 to 10 years. And then whereas a line like this right here, you know, this has exceptional winter hardiness. You can see there, part of this is filled in just with tillering this spring, but the rest of these are demonstrating adequate winter hardiness. And you can see the holes over here, and that's winter doing its worst, you know. So.
Why in the same variety? We see some with a beard and some with nothing. What's going on?
That seed came out of the combine. that was one spike that got caught in the reel, and that's you just hit on one important part in the breeding process, and that's seed purification right there, and that's why we harvest these lines right here as a single row, you know, so that we can actually keep all this line. I mean, they look very similar, you know, so we want to keep that seed clean.
They all look like they're coming out of the same, the same tiller.
Yeah. And so it will compensate. You know, the same as in the Jupiter around us. You can see there's spots where it was winter killed, but one plant with all that extra light, you know, that'll induce tillering right there. We will tiller, and we've had actually great tillering conditions. Those cool nighttime temperatures I was talking about.
So these are actually 3 different varieties?
3 different, yeah, exactly. Now, this is a special case here where they're all from this was where I was doing a cleanup. Actually, it relates to that point where there was some heterogeneity in the plot last year that these came from. So we harvested single plants out of there, you know. So that's where I said every variety comes from one single plant at one point in time, and so there's slight variation among these. Now, if further out here, you know, some of these other varieties. Now, these were all single plants that came from the same plot, but they're very different. You know, you can see slight variation in plant height, winter hardiness, and so that's part of why here's an exceptional outlet contrast here. You see this very tall on variety here, and this is let me see. Yeah, these would have came from the same plot, but here's an onless, on versus onless, and so we're separating them out and purifying them, and so they're comparison. They're pretty much sister lines, but there's some variation within that plot, and so in this way we're looking at them as true breeding lines, as pure lines then.